Okay, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, today what we're going to talk about is value. What is the value of your degree? All right. So many of you guys are going to America, hopefully, to get degrees so you could go back home and you can get good jobs or possibly just even stay in America. Now, the issue is that when you're looking for degrees, remember that every major is not the same. Every major is not equal. Okay. You have to make sure that when you're choosing a major, that you're going to choose a major that's going to be marketable for wherever you're going to be, whether you're in America or your home country. And the reason why I say this is that maybe you have some schools that might have 200 majors, and maybe 150 of them just might be trash. All right. So let's say, for example, you decide you want to major in, I don't know, gender studies, for example. This is a popular major in America, gender studies. You want to study the effects of, you know, the society on different genders and the relationship between men and women. Now, that might work in certain countries, might work in America, but is that really something that is going to be able to get you a job back home? You have to think about that because, every society is different. Let's say, for example, if you're from a country that has a lot of oil and you want to get into petroleum engineering, okay, that might be a bit more lucrative than, let's say, you doing electrical engineering. You have to figure these things out before you start taking these heavy classes because you're paying a lot of money for these courses. So I actually do believe that there are some degrees that are a waste of money. Or I take that back. Let's say there are degrees that can be a waste if you don't continue on to higher education. So let's say, for example, some people may become an accountant, get certified, and they're able to become an accountant. But if you major in something like history, and if you think that you're just going to come out with a bachelor's in history and start making some money, it's not one of those degrees. You might have to go on to, get your master's and your PhD because most times you might end up in academia, or unless you're writing some serious articles or novels, things like that. So other than that, these are degrees where it's not enough to have them directly as soon as you get out of college and just use that and go right into the workforce. Now, a lot of schools are what we call liberal arts colleges. And what liberal arts colleges are is that they just give you a bunch of courses together that they hope will shape your life. All right. So when you look at Harvard and Princeton and Yale and some of these schools and Swarthmore, these are like liberal arts colleges for the most part. The major isn't as important because they just automatically figure that you're going to go on to higher learning to expand yourself. All right. So you have to understand that coming out of the Ivy Leagues with a degree in general education, or as some schools call it, letters in science, which means that you're looking at going to grad school or something else after you graduate. Now, it does not make sense for you to pick a major that is not marketable, or to pick a major that you know nothing about, or to pick a major that's going to give you a dead end. All right. You want to hit a dead end with some of these majors. All right. The STEM majors are the majors that generally are the most successful. All right. Science, technology, engineering, mathematics degrees. These degrees are the ones that get you the big money. All right. And there is a shortage of women in these fields. I don't exactly know whose fault it is, but I think that there's two folds. Number one, maybe there hasn't been enough outreach to get ladies to study these. Or number two, maybe the women just don't want to study in these areas. They might not want to study in these areas. You find out that sometimes a lot of females, the majors they pick are helping professions, feeling type professions, nursing, social work, things like that. So, and we're men, sometimes we may go for the harder positions. Not saying that you have, you don't have examples of both, but just saying just in general. So when you look at in America, like careers in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, it's a challenge to get American girls to study this stuff because a lot of times just women just simply aren't interested in it. Now, coming from a foreign country, you'll find more foreign women involved in STEM because depending on what country you're coming from, you can't afford to spend thousands of dollars in college and to come home with a degree in women's studies. What are you going to do with that? All right. So this is the advantage sometimes of the kids that grew up in America, or the kids that parents just have a lot of money. They could waste, 4, 5, 6 years in school just figuring out their life, whereas most people don't have that luxury. So once again, we just want to make sure that you are picking out great majors, and great majors are going to be able to help you, get the money that you deserve. But this is something that we could definitely go into a little bit later. Questions, comments, short speeches. We'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know if you have a list of majors that are pretty much a waste of time, or they're maybe they're ripping you off, or you think you might not be able to find the job. I saw a school the other day that had a major in horse journalism. Horse journalism. Horse journalism. That was a major that they actually had. I don't know how many horses you're going to be riding for, but I don't know if it's a waste of time, but it just seems like that's a real narrow area, to get into a field such as horse journalism. You'll see a lot of these majors that are really kind of fancy, but at the end of the day, it's figuring out like, okay, what can I do with this? What am I going to be able to do with this? Who knows? Talk about this tomorrow.